On March 14th, 2023, GoPro released firmware version 2.10 for the Hero 11. This firmware version has a couple important fixes in there, and I'm gonna run through those quickly today so that you can understand what's in this firmware update and why it's important to update to version 2.10 if you have the GoPro Hero 11. The first bug fix is for when exposure select and exposure lock does not function properly. So generally what this is going to mean is when you're using the exposure lock function, at times it may not have been locking properly or staying locked, or it may not have been properly selecting or adjusting the exposure. So that is a good fix to see. I did not notice that problem on my Hero 11, but it seems that there was an issue there. So if you did have that issue, updating should fix that for you. The second fix relates to Volta. And specifically, the second fix is if you use your GoPro with Volta without a battery in it. There were multiple issues and glitches that would happen if you did not have a battery inserted into the GoPro. This firmware update has fixed those issues and there should not be any problems anymore. I typically didn't use my GoPro without a battery with the Volta, but I did try it without the battery after updating the firmware and everything seems to be working great, no problems there. And the third item is other general bug fixes and interface improvements. This is a typical phrase in a lot of GoPro firmware updates, and my theory on this is it encompasses a lot of smaller things that are under the hood improvements, things that you don't necessarily see or know about, but things that should relate to a better, more stable camera. And in the end, that should make it a better user experience for people and hopefully equal or better footage. So I don't know the details of what that aspect includes, but I can say that after updating the firmware, my Hero 11 has continued to work great, like it has been, and I've not had any issues. So the firmware resulted in a GoPro that was running at least as good as it was before the firmware update. So if you haven't updated to version 2.0 yet, I encourage you to do that update, especially if you use the Volta or the exposure lock feature. Until we talk again, happy GoProing.